Welcome to sunny St. Pete Beach, where the Panthers are in town. We moved from a lake to a river in rounds 1 and 2, and the racing was as close as it's ever been.
Deck to deck with Visit St. Pete. Whoa!
I think it's part of racing. It happens. You know, I hope it doesn't happen again, but it's not my job to move out of their way either.
That's just racing.
And we finally made it to the sea in round 3 of 2017 P1 SuperStock USA Championship. This weekend, along the stunning shorelines of St. Pete Beach, the SuperStock teams will be battling it out for the top step of the podium. The championship table has never been closer, with just 4 points separating the top 3, and Richie Webster from local team Visit St. Petersburg Clearwater just 1 point off the top. Richie, how are you feeling today for the race?
We're feeling great. You know, we tested the boat last week, and the boat's running great. And me and Trent, we're feeling good coming into this weekend. The new engines are wonderful. You know, the Mercuries, they're screaming. We're getting up to 70 mile an hour now. Yeah, the revs are higher. The boats are more even, and you just have to follow us this weekend. We're not going to play nice guy anymore. Today is our day. We're hometown heroes today. We're going to knock those Welsh boys off the top of the table. They've been on top too long, and we're coming for them this weekend. No more nice guy.
Team Barbados have given the teams quite the hustle and currently lead the USA Championship. Not only that, but they've been racing across the pond in the European Series and just won the first round in Denmark last weekend. Now that they've rushed back stateside, have the Welsh Dragons bitten off more than they can chew?
Yeah, we're going to do our best. We've won the double before. This is our 4th, I think, potential in the US, and obviously leading the UK at the moment, so we're going to see what we can do. Got to watch everyone. Frank and Al's are really creeping up the rankings now. So it's very different when you get on the start line. The adrenaline starts kicking, boats racing alongside you. It's good to compete.
Southeastern Lighting Solutions won the weekend in round 1, but couldn't quite do it again in Jacksonville, leaving them 3rd in the standings.
Our ultimate goal is to be in the top 3 in the championship at the end of the year. The Geico race team, they're a bunch of great guys. I'm glad that they got good insurance. I mean, I think he really bumped into about every boat out there but the pace boat, so we had a lot of fun with him. After Jacksonville, we're really going to take the gloves off today. So if you know, somebody wants to cross our path, we're going to cross paths with them.
Well, you've heard from our racers, but let's find out what our expert commentator and former powerboat racer, Martin Sanborn, has to say. Now, it's been some awesome racing this season.
It's been amazing, incredibly close. You never know who's going to win from heat to heat. It's been just a couple of points separating the top 5 boats. It's amazing.
Now, what's to be expected here in the Gulf of Mexico this weekend?
Well, the boats are on salt water. It's going to be a little bit different. The boats run a little bit different, but on top of that, we're in the ocean, so it's going to be bumpy potentially. At the very minimum, they're going to have to deal with a totally different set of conditions. So it's going to, I think it's going to still be close, but you're going to see guys with a little more seat experience are really going to shine.
We've got 2 back-to-back races today, and the teams are leaving the pits, so let's head out to the start.
Thanks, Deanna. The teams are getting ready to head out to the Gulf for the first race here in St. Petersburg. You heard the teams mention how nice these boats run with the new 300 XS Optimax Mercury Racing, the presenting sponsor of the P1 SuperStock Championship here in 2017. Let's take a look at our race course. 1.93 miles, 7 turns. As they head out to sea, they've got that right-hand dogleg, then they've got a long straight from turn 7 to turn 1 coming right back towards the beach. And the pace boat heads across the fleet, yellow flag up, letting the teams know they are getting ready to head towards the beach for the start. As soon as the pace boat squares up and comes down range, he'll wait till they're all up in line and throw the green flag, and we will be underway. And there we go. We have a green flag. Race number 1 is underway as we're on board with Frank and Al's Pizza Racing, Frank Silva and Tony Iannata. See, the boats are getting a little bit of air as they're coming in on a following sea, heading straight towards the beach. They're required to hold their lanes coming into their first turn. as you see him just starting to top out at 72 miles an hour with this single 300 horsepower outboard. And out front right now is number 94, Visit Jacksonville, with George Ivey and Brian Lynch. They will be the first ones around the turn, but they got to hold that lane going around. Now they can start changing lanes as the boats bunch up, coming through the start-finish chute. Spectra Powerboats had the inside lane. They were squeezing in on Frank and Jimmy's, and there you can see the number 55 Frank and Jimmy's as they go through the rooster tail of Frank and Al's Pizza to the outside, trying to set themselves up for that right-hand turn. Out front right now, number 94, Visit Jacksonville, as we go back on board with Frank and Al's Pizza. Now you can see how close he is to Spectra Powerboats as he just clears the right-hand dogleg, heading out towards turn 5, 6, and 7, the big sweeping turn at the far west end of the race course. As we look at the battle for 4th place, Frank and Jimmy's just ahead of Team Barbados, the number 55 of Jason Morton and Ricky Dobbs. And right on their hip is Team Barbados. James Norville and Charlie Parsons Young coming up right on their inside is Southeastern Lighting Solutions with Walt Cox and Jamie Cantor. And we're back on board Frank and Al's Pizza Racing as he goes by that buoy, left just barely a lane for Spectra that's riding right on the edge of that wake. Out front, number 94, Visit Jacksonville, 2nd place, Frank and Al's Pizza Racing, 3rd place, Spectra Powerboats. As the clean water belongs to Visit Jacksonville as they head towards turn 4 and that sweeping right-hand turn. That dogleg mixes things up. Oh, they come off plane. They've got a problem. I'll bet they pulled their kill switch. That's going to cost them. This racing is so close in P1 SuperStock. One little mistake like that, and you go from hero to zero, and we have a new leader. Frank and Al's Pizza Racing is now out front. 2nd place is Spectra Powerboats. 3rd place is Frank and Jimmy's as the fleet drives by Visit Jacksonville. Let's take a look at our leaderboard as Frank and Al's Pizza, the new leader. Spectra Powerboats in 2nd place. 3rd place, Frank and Jimmy's Propellers, followed by Team Barbados. Spectra Powerboats with Craig Wilson and Forrest Kirby as they're trying to run down Frank and Al's Pizza. Tony Iannata and Frank Silva out front right now. As we look at our leaderboard, Frank and Al's Pizza has the clean water. Spectra Powerboats about 8 or 9 boat lengths behind them. As Team Barbados trying to make a run on the inside to get up to Frank and Jimmy's. Doesn't look like they're going to get there. As that is St. Petersburg Clearwater dives through the back of the rooster tail of Team Barbados. They're now on the outside for the right-hand dogleg. And let's see if he dives back through again, and he does. He dives back across the wake of the number 7 boat, Team Barbados. Visit St. Petersburg Clearwater in a battle with Team Barbados for 4th place. Geico right on their hip. As you see, they're almost side by side coming towards the beach turn. Frank and Jimmy's makes their way around in 3rd place. 4th place is Team Barbados on the inside as the white flag is out. We are on the final lap here in heat number 1 in St. Pete. Frank and Jimmy's running so much better right now. The boat had some modifications made during the off-season in an effort to fix the bottom of the boat, and they actually made it worse. First of all, it's illegal to modify the boats in this series, but what happened when they put the boat right back to the way it was supposed to? They are right back up in the hunt. And the checkered flag is out as Frank and Al's Pizza comes by. They will take the win in heat number 1. Frank Silva and Tony Iannata in the number 555 Frank and Al's Pizza takes the win. 2nd place goes to Spectra Powerboats with Craig Wilson and Forrest Kirby. And let's take a look at the rest of the results for heat number 1 here at St. Pete Beach. Frank and Al's Pizza takes the win, followed by Spectra Powerboats, Frank and Jimmy's Propellers, Team Barbados, Visit St. Pete Clearwater, and Geico. And there's your winner from heat number 1 here in St. Pete Beach, Frank and Al's Pizza Racing. Now P1 SuperStock inverts the start, so the winner of the heat starts on the outside for the next race. Frank and Al's Pizza Racing, they're required to maintain their lane going into turn 1. They didn't do it. They came across the fleet, end up side by side with Visit Jacksonville as they cross the start-finish line. Frank and Jimmy's and Southeastern Lighting Solutions go through the rooster tails as the fleet bunches up at the start-finish line, with Geico getting hosed down by Sarasota Ford. as Sarasota Ford is side by side with Team Barbados following Spectra into turn 1. But in the end, it would be Visit Jacksonville taking the checkered flag, George Ivey and Brian Lynch in the number 94. And let's take a look at our results. After heat number 2, Visit Jacksonville takes the win, followed by Frank and Al's Pizza, Southeastern Lighting Solutions, Spectra, Frank and Jimmy's, and Visit St. Pete.
Let's take a look at the results. After 2 races, Frank and Al's Pizza out front, Spectra Powerboats and Visit Jacksonville tied for second, followed by Frank and Jimmy's Propellers and Team Barbados.
The key factor was communication, I think. The boats are all on the same level, and we're just trying to keep our clean lines and keep talking to each other so that we know where all the other boats are. There's a lot of real tough competitors out there, so we got to do everything we can to stay on top of the heap.
2 amazing races today and a great performance by Frank and Al's Pizza. Join us after the break as I'll be catching up with Frank, and we've got another full day's racing. Welcome back to St. Pete Beach. After 2 close races yesterday, Frank and Al's Pizza came out on top.
You know, we've been practicing quite a bit, and I tell you, the experience that we had in India, that really helped us, I think, in the chop yesterday. And you know, we're hoping for some more chop today, but so far it looks pretty calm. Yeah, but let's hope we can duplicate it again. I don't want to get too cocky. I don't want to get too arrogant. I want to just be calm, and hopefully we can replicate what we did yesterday. You know, we're going to give it all we have. You know, yeah, we're on top right now, and we want to stay there. You know, last year we made a lot of mental mistakes that we haven't done this year. So we want to stay focused.
Oh, these over here? Yeah, because look where we're running. We're running right there.
Tony and I are communicating much better than we did last year. So yeah, I think we can do it again today.
Well, let's see if Frank and Tony can graduate to that top step of the podium. And now we'll head over to our commentator, Martin Sanborn.
Thank you, Deanna. The teams are all out on the west end of the race course, waiting for the pace boat to pick them up and start race 3 of round number 3 here in St. Pete Beach. And they are doing their prep.
Black stripe, pylon, big boy, 3 fluid, 3 pylons, back to the beach. Yeah.
And let's take a look at that course that Tony was just discussing. At the beach, you've got turn 1, 2, and 3 out to a right-hand dogleg at 4, then a big sweeping 5, 6, and 7, and the long straightaway back towards the beach. As the pace boat comes across the fleet and they start heading down range, it'll be up to the starter to determine when everybody's lined up and they feel we are good for a green flag, and we have a start. Nice thing about these 300 XS Optimax is as soon as that green flag goes up and they hammer the throttles, you see the water come off the back. That rooster tail, as we call it, is indication of all that power hitting the water. As the boats make their way to the beach, it's Frank and Al's Pizza on the outside, but Team Geico on the inside. They are side by side with Visit St. Pete Clearwater. All side by side as they make their way towards turn 1. And here you see just how close they are as we're looking back off Frank and Al's Pizza Racing as they're topping out at 72 miles an hour. Geico squeezes just a little bit as everybody tries to bunch their way around turn 1 as they are side by side with F&J Propeller. Looks like they almost touched. They might have been separated by just a little bit of water between the 2 of them, pushing them apart. As Southeastern Lighting Solutions giving a little bit of spray to Geico and completely hosing down Frank and Jimmy's. As Frank and Jimmy's just to the outside of Geico, and here comes Visit St. Pete Clearwater coming up hard on the outside. As the boats make their way, oh, Geico gets the boat up on its side. That's what happens when you go around the turn way too sharp and way too fast. Got the boat up on its side. Geico just recovers from what looked like a certain rollover. Excellent recovery by Team Geico. As we go on board Southeastern Lighting Solutions, you see them diving across the wake of two other boats, trying to get some clean water to the outside on that right-hand dogleg. Let's take a look on board Geico. As they went around that turn, there they hop the wake, they go over and get the boat completely up on its side, and it looks like that wake managed to push them back over. Here it is from behind again as they go across that wake, get the boat sideways, roll it up on its side. You see the prop is still digging and pushing, and the boat rolls back over. Unbelievable as we go on board Spectra Powerboats. They are just right off of the hip of Frankenhaus Pizza. Frankenhaus out front. Spectra in second place. You see just how much spray comes off of the chine of that boat, making it very hard to see as they're now out on the west end of the race course at turn 5, 6, and 7. As we go back to the beginning of the race, we see how close those two boats got, Frank and Jimmy's and Geico. Close enough that it looked like they might have touched. They all got squeezed going into the first turn. Geico didn't really have anywhere to go. Probably should have slowed down a little bit, as here's what it looked like from Frank and Jimmy's propellers perspective. And they definitely touched. Actually moved the camera on Frank and Jimmy's. But we go back to our racing action. Frank and Jimmy's out ahead of Team Geico. Geico is side by side with Visit St. Pete Clearwater. As we look at our leaderboard, Frankenhaus Pizza out front, followed by Spectra, Southeastern Lighting Solution, and Frank and Jimmy's propellers. Once again, Geico holds that inside lane. Nice turn. Visit St. Pete Clearwater goes way wide to the outside. Frank and Jimmy's propellers having a great run, currently sitting in 4th place. Geico bobbles just a little bit by the start-finish line, doing everything they can to try to run down Frank and Jimmy's propellers. Frank and Jimmy's propellers with Jason Morton and Ricky Hopkins. But Frankenhaus Pizza continues to lead with Frank Silva and Tony Ionata as the boats all make their way towards the right-hand dogleg heading to the west here in St. Pete Beach. But the battle right now is between Team Barbados and Visit St. Pete Clearwater as Barbados drives by on the outside. And Frankenhaus Pizza comes by. The white flag is going to come out. 1 lap to go here in this third of 4 races here at St. Pete Beach. Frankenhaus Pizza racing out front with Frank Silva and Tony Ionata. Spectra Powerboats running in 2nd place, followed by number 31 Southeastern Lighting Solutions and Frank and Jimmy's propellers. And the checkered flag is out. The win goes to Frankenhaus Pizza with Frank Silva and Tony Ionata. And look at how close we are for between 3rd, 4th, and 5th as Frank and Jimmy's propellers, followed by Team Geico. Next up is Team Barbados and Visit St. Pete Clearwater, as the boats all finish within seconds of each other here in the 3rd heat. Let's take a look at our results. For race number 3, the win goes to Frankenhaus Pizza, followed by Spectra Powerboats, Southeastern Lighting Solutions, Frank and Jimmy's propellers, Geico, and Team Barbados.
It's been a brilliant day here in St. Pete Beach, and I'm here with Tim Ramsberger. How does it feel to be hosting the races here in St. Pete?
Oh, we couldn't be more excited. This is a thrill for us here. It's a great opportunity to expose the brand of St. Pete Clearwater, and what a gorgeous day here. This is what we're made of here. This is not only good for tourism itself, and generating tourism here on the beaches, but it's also good for our brand, because this is a quality event, it's exciting, it's what St. Pete Clearwater is all about.
Great, and have you enjoyed the event today?
Absolutely. I wish I was out there myself.
Frankenhaus Pizza seem to really be clicking this weekend. Let's see if they can dominate in the final race. Straight back to Martin.
Thanks, Deanna. As the green flag drops in race number 4 here at St. Pete Beach, off to an early jump was Frankenhaus Pizza Racing, but coming up hard on the inside with a great move is Team Visit St. Pete Clearwater. They slam the door on Team Barbados. Barbados gets squeezed, has to go to the outside, and it ends up side by side with Frankenhaus Pizza Racing on the outside, Visit St. Pete Clearwater on the inside. That is Richie Webster and Trent Gallen. And of all the races for them to jump out front, the final race of the weekend here in St. Pete would be the one. So as they headed west, it was Visit St. Pete Clearwater out front. They get ahead of Frankenhaus Pizza Racing with Team Barbados in 3rd, but at the end of the day, ultimately the win went to Visit St. Petersburg Clearwater, and they take the checkered flag. Coming in second is Team Barbados, followed by Southeastern Lighting Solutions, Spectra, Geico, and Frankenhaus Pizza. But the win goes to Visit St. Petersburg Clearwater. But it's the totals for the weekend that determine the overall winner, and Frankenhaus Pizza Racing gets the top podium position, followed by Visit St. Pete Clearwater, Team Barbados, Southeastern Lighting Solutions, Geico, and Spectra. But round number 3 goes to Frankenhaus Pizza with Frank Silva and Tony Ionata.
Great weekend, boat ran great, Frank drove great, we had a good time, can't ask for more. Just trying to carry it on to the next one.
Yeah, we're not going to get too excited. We're not going to get ahead of ourselves. You know, it's 5 points isn't a lot, so we're not going to be cocky about it. But we are going to try to win. Yeah, we are excited. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have my whole family here, so yeah, we're going to go out and celebrate tonight, right here in beautiful St. Pete.
Gentlemen, a great weekend of racing.
Thank you.
So how are you so fast out there? This is your first race of the season.
Yeah, it was. Craig was the fast one.
Forrest did a great job. He was, for his first race, I mean, it's an eye-opener out here, especially as bumpy it is and the speed that we're running out there. So I was expecting him to complain a little bit, tell me what, but no, he wasn't. He was just go, 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 go all the time. So it's good to have somebody on board that really wants that. And, you know, we finally made the podium this year, which our boat's starting to come alive. So we'll be there.
What a weekend of racing it's been, and it's really been a great season.
It has. You know, since we made the change to the Mercury 300 XSs, the boats are so close, we never know who's going to win from race to race, and when they all finish within seconds of each other after a full heat, that's a testament to parity, and these guys are all running strong.
We've got a new podium winner, and we're looking forward to Sarasota.
And they've moved to the top for the series as well, so it's really good. But we're going into Sarasota, which anything can happen. Sarasota traditionally can be incredibly rough, so it's really going to be interesting. This was our first ocean race. This is just a warm-up for Sarasota.
Wow, what a weekend of racing here in St. Pete Beach. Last year's rookies are this weekend's winners and currently top of the table for the championship. How will it all shake out? Let's find out in Sarasota. I'll see you there.